Romans used war dogs called Canis Pugnax, massive, mastiff-type animals bred for battle. They were trained to attack on command, break enemy lines, and guard Roman camps at night. These dogs wore spiked collars and sometimes light armor made of bronze plates. They could march beside legions for miles and identify enemies by scent alone. In battles across Gaul, Liguria, and Sardinia, they were used to create panic before Roman infantry advanced. Strong, disciplined, and fearless, these were Rome's living weapons. But the Romans didn't create them from nothing. They began with a foreign breed, huge, powerful hounds from Greece. And from those dogs, they forged the first true canine super soldier. When Rome swallowed Greece, they didn't just haul off statues and scrolls. They shipped home something far more primal: huge, heavy-headed Molossian hounds. These weren't your average farm dogs. Hailing from Epirus, a region in ancient Greece, Molossians were already legendary for their size and ferocity, often used for guarding livestock and fending off bandits. The Romans, ever so pragmatists, saw their potential and began a meticulous breeding program. They crossed these formidable Greek giants with native Italian mastiffs, selectively breeding for traits that would create the ultimate canine warrior. We're talking bone-crushing jaws, immense strength, and nerves that stayed ice-cold even when iron clashed all around them. Within a generation, they had the Canis Pugnax, literally the combative dog. A male could easily top 100 pounds, yet sprint like a wolf, making it an imposing figure on any battlefield. This wasn't just about size. It was about a specific, ruthless temperament. Legion officers tracked litters with the same meticulousness that quartermasters tracked javelins. Every pup born on state land may have been marked as army property, according to some accounts. This wasn't merely a tag of ownership. It was a declaration of purpose, transforming a creature of instinct into a dedicated military asset, ready for the arena or the front lines. Forget cuddles. These pups met drills at 8 weeks old. This wasn't about companionship initially. It was about functionality and absolute obedience. Recruits learned a complex system of whistle signals for advance, hold, and release. Commands that needed to be understood and executed without hesitation, even in the deafening chaos of battle. Discipline was strict, with success and failure shaping the training regime. Although details like withholding food and rewards with goat blood are described in some modern reconstructions and may not be directly documented in ancient sources. By month 6, these animals weren't just big. They were conditioned athletes. They could heel beside a marching column for 20 miles, ears flicking to every change in cadence, their endurance mirroring that of the legionaries themselves. Socialization meant living right in the tent line. Soldiers slept beside the dogs, so each beast learned to tell legionary leather from Gallic wool by scent alone. This scent-based recognition was crucial, allowing them to distinguish friend from foe, preventing accidental attacks on allies. When a dog ripped into a dummy stuffed with boar hide, efficiency was prized. Less capable dogs might be assigned to guard duties rather than frontline combat. Spiked collars, absolutely real and terrifyingly effective. Leather straps held bronze studs as sharp as a stylus point, designed to inflict maximum damage and protect the dog's vulnerable throat. Some handlers, not content with just collars, are said to have added extra armor or protection, though accounts of blade anklets should be taken as dramatic embellishments. Direct evidence for such weapons is scant. On campaign, these dogs weren't sent in naked. They wore lightweight mail across the chest, typically 40 bronze plates laced together with rawhide. This armor wasn't just for protection. It amplified their intimidating presence, making them appear even more formidable. A full kit weighed about as much as a toddler, yet tests in modern reenactment show a fit dog could keep 70% of its speed. How's that for engineering? Before battle, some sources suggest handlers would rub strong scents, such as onion juice, into the dog's nostrils, possibly to sharpen aggression and mask the smell of fear on Allied troops, though this detail comes from interpretation and later military practices. Ask the tribes who broke ranks when they saw the glint of metal on fur, followed by a snarling, armored beast. The psychological impact of these armored, weaponized dogs was a key part of Roman warfare. Picture northern Italy, 197 BC. Ligurian hillmen, tough and unyielding, form a tight phalanx on a narrow road. Roman cavalry can't flank, and infantry would waste precious hours in a costly frontal assault. The solution? Unleash 20 Canis Pugnax 50 yards ahead of the first turma. The dogs slam into the shield line like hairy cannonballs, their sheer force disrupting the enemy formation. This wasn't just a skirmish. It was a calculated shock tactic, designed to sow chaos and break the enemy's resolve. The horses behind them rear, not from dog bites, but from pure equine panic at the scent of predator and the unexpected violent impact. Ancient records rarely give specific casualty numbers for such encounters, but do note instances that enemy formations could be broken, allowing cavalry and infantry to strike. This same brutal trick worked against Gallic cavalry in Aquitania. Dogs aimed for the horses' soft noses, one well-placed nip enough to scatter a charge before riders could level spears. The tactical versatility of these dogs was also evident in campaigns like the reclamation of Sardinia in 231 BCE, where Consul Marcus Pomponius Matho used keen-scented dogs to hunt down guerrilla forces hiding in caves and forests, a task human soldiers struggled with. The dogs weren't just fighters, they were force multipliers, turning stalemates into routes and making impossible terrain navigable for Roman objectives. Sometimes, terror needed an upgrade. Enter the pyropheri, dogs trained to carry small clay pots of blazing oil. Some sources suggest a handler would light the wick, send the dog charging, and the pot would shatter, splashing burning oil across shields, uniforms, and bare legs. Accounts of this tactic exist in scattered references, but are rare and likely exceptional, not routine. Ancient sources referred to it as the stink that routs men, a testament to the combined horror of fire, chaos, and the scent of burning flesh. The actual survival rate of these dogs is uncertain, and while Romans valued trained animals, these missions were extremely dangerous for the dog. Between fights, these four-legged warriors pulled night watch duty. One dog per century patrolled the tent line, circling every hour with senses far keener than any human sentry. An intruder would first trigger a low, guttural growl. Ignore it, and the animal wouldn't hesitate to go for the femoral artery. This wasn't random aggression. It was a graduated response, trained and precise, ensuring the camp's security. On long deployments, the same dogs doubled as hunting hounds, bringing down boar and other game to supplement grain rations, contributing directly to the army's sustenance. When their fighting days were done, these veterans weren't simply discarded. They retired to farms outside Rome, and some may have been given special recognition, as shown by grave stelae depicting an old mastiff reclining beside a gladius, poignant symbols of parallel service and the deep, if pragmatic, respect the Romans held for these creatures. It highlights a unique aspect of Roman society. Even animals, if they served the state, earn their place in its history. Between fights, these four-legged warriors pulled night watch duty. One dog per century patrolled the tent line, circling every hour with senses far keener than any human sentry. An intruder would first trigger a low, guttural growl. Ignore it, and the animal wouldn't hesitate to go for the femoral artery. This wasn't random aggression. It was a graduated response, trained and precise, ensuring the camp's security. On long deployments, the same dogs doubled as hunting hounds, bringing down boar and other game to supplement grain rations, contributing directly to the army's sustenance. When their fighting days were done, these veterans weren't simply discarded. They retired to farms outside Rome, and some may have been given special recognition, as shown by grave stelae depicting an old mastiff reclining beside a gladius, poignant symbols of parallel service and the deep, if pragmatic, respect the Romans held for these creatures. It highlights a unique aspect of Roman society. Even animals, if they served the state, earn their place in its history. So the next time you see a mastiff lumbering across a park with its imposing build and watchful eyes, pause for a moment. Picture it 2 millennia earlier. Muscles corded under bronze, eyes locked on a shield wall, paws drumming as the first chord of Rome's victory roar. Because before the empire ruled the world, it had to rule chaos, and for that, it built a weapon that panted, prowled, and, when given the word, simply shattered everything in its path. If you learned something tonight, give the video a thumbs up, drop a comment on which ancient topic we should chase next, and subscribe for more history that truly bites back.